Today I want to talk a little bit about my Autopilot design, or vane pilot, tiller pilot. I guess technically it is a servo rudder tiller pilot auto system, whatever. Anyway, I want to run it by everybody before I go and make a big mistake or something. I got most of the parts that I need here, and kind of come closer to the computer, see if you can see what's going on. The idea is this is going to be a servo rudder, which will be actuated by a tiller pilot. And as that tiller pilot rotates the rudder, it swings like a pendulum. And the key difference to this design and all the ones I've seen on the market is this uses just a Heim joint, which gives three axes of motion, and instead of using two individual hinges to achieve both rotation of the rudder and swinging. And the rudder shaft comes up and rides in a channel, and that constrains that rudder shaft from moving fore aft. So in this setup, the rudder is allowed to pivot on its shaft, and it's allowed to swing athwartship in order to provide steerage. And of course, the very top of that shaft, you can kind of see over here, will have some eyes or something that will then attach to ropes and go up to the helm. So here's my parts. I'm using an aluminum centerboard out of an old dinghy. So I had that laying around. I had this 4-inch angle aluminum laying around as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a flange 4 inches wide on the top of this rudder, or which will be the rudder. You might be able to see there's a line scribed here. That's 20% back from the cord length to provide balancing for the rudder, so you don't have a lot of force on the tiller for the rudder. This is going to bolt up here. It's going to be 4 inches long, and with the two flanges, it'll be a 4-inch by 8-inch wide flange for the aluminum rudder. That is then going to have this plate, which is going to be welded to this rudder shaft at a 90-degree angle. I have this plate all cut into triangles for gussets here. And then we're going to use this aluminum and these stainless standoffs to weld onto the plate edges and create a hinge. And one side of the hinge will be bolted with a bolt. The other side of the hinge, I'm going to be using this quick release pin so that I can just pull this out, and the whole rudder will swing up on this hinge and can be attached somewhere up on the boat out of the water. This is going to be the through transom connection. So this is going to be bolted through the transom, and then the Heim joint is going to screw onto that. I'm using these spacers, which allow the Heim joint to increase its angular deflection from 24 degrees to over 50 degrees. And that's necessary to get enough articulation so that it can pull the ropes far enough. Right now, it's going to be able to pull the ropes a little over 30 inches as this swings. So this will be here. It'll be allowed to pivot and rotate. It'll be held in place by these collars above and below the Heim joint. The one above the Heim joint, I guess it doesn't matter if it's the one above or below, will have a piece of steel welded out to it. Probably going to use some scrap of this because I got to cut this down. And that is going to come out and will be the tiller. And that tiller will then be driven using a Morse cable, a push-pull cable, by the tiller pilot. The top side of this shaft is going to be constrained by this plate. So this is going to be a platform approximately 16 inches above the bottom of the transom. This is going to be attached to my transom. It fits nicely, and I'll put some Trex decking on it. And then I'm using this 6 by 1/8 inch aluminum, and it's going to be bolted to this and come down as a flange to make a channel. And that's the channel you can see right here. And the top of the rudder shaft will ride in between this plate And this ultra high density or ultra high molecular weight UHMW polyethylene, I guess it is, and that'll act as a bearing, so it can slide back and forth. I don't know if I explained that too well, but that's my design in a nutshell. In the future, I would like to add an actual vane steering to it and get away from the tiller pilot, but for now, this was enough. And you know, let me know what you guys think, and if you have any concerns about the functionality. All right, that's about it. Thanks.